The purpose of this bill, it specifically enunciates in the bill that the hearing must occur before the budget hearing for the agency, which is why we're having this presentation here today. For the record and for transparency purposes, our 3 employee groups were given notification of the hearing, and also that the hearing has been rescheduled to today at 11 o'clock in the morning. The employee groups were given notification. They were provided the agenda and were provided an opportunity to come before you and present. I've shared with you the scope of the legislation. I've shared with you the employee group component, and now I'm going to present to you our the information that we're required to share with you regarding our vacancy rates. So taking a look, I shared with you, we have 3 employee groups that we work with, and that is our International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 47, which is our largest employee group. We have our group of middle management group, which represents on or about 23 FTEs. Currently, the numbers that I'm sharing with you are current versus different than what's in your presentation, because that's 2025. And then we have our confidential group that also is represented here at the authority. So part of our numbers that we're going to go through here today, and this reflects calendar year 2025. So the numbers of our overall voluntary turnover rate, and this voluntary turnover rate does not include our intern program. It does not include our retirees, our retired annuitants. These are full-time vested positions. So for 2025 in our International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 47, we had 19 vacancies. Middle management group, we had 5 vacancies. Our confidential group had 1 vacancy, and our senior management team had 1 vacancy. The average number of days from recruitment to hire, which means hire means the day they start their actual employment with us here at the authority, is 121 days. And the average employee tenure overall for the entire universe that we have of our 138 dedicated FTEs, looking at our numbers for 2025, was a tenure that averaged about 10.4 years in total for a career with the Sweetwater Authority. So where do we recruit? Where do we retain our staff from? So we use our modern recruitment platforms. We have Instagram, NeoGov, which is our governmentjobs.com. It's our primary source of application intake and recruitment. We have LinkedIn capabilities as well as Facebook. We recently added in 2025 the American Public Works Association and the American Water Works Association. Most recently, we added the Aqua Foundation. That's been in this year's first quarter, where we are able to post on their hiring portal. But of course, that's going to be reflected in next year's public hearing. But I just wanted to let you know to modernize our presentation. Today, in fact, I wanted to share with you our commitment to local hire. This has been a big part of our commitment to our strategic plan work. In 2023, we embarked on this journey to make sure we were present in every one of our Southwestern College hiring opportunity career fairs. We not only attend the Southwestern College main campus, but we have a commitment to West National City, and we participate every year at the National City Career Day, which we just did a couple weeks ago. We have a presence at San Diego State University, University of California, San Diego. And today, in fact, we visited the urban core of San Diego County. We were there this morning, and Asha Howard, who's our senior analyst, is still there presenting to the core team of core members there. We discuss, and part of our table offering is our total compensation benefit package. We share with possible applicants the career process of applying, making sure that they understand that this is in fact a very competitive employer, and to stay engaged and to sign up for notifications of openings throughout the agency. We offer training and career development opportunities for employees once you are here. And as you know, we've been offering opportunities of temporary out-of-class opportunity assignments throughout the entire agency, where there is opportunity to promote and create career growth within the agency. That concludes the scope of the data that we're required to present to you. I do want to share with you that from purposes of employee retention, we have created opportunities to do employee engagement, employee recognition. We offer the annual employee recognition event in September. We have service awards in the fall and in the spring. Just this week, we had an employee engagement luncheon. Some of you have benefited from the conchas that are in the break room. Those were offered as a symbolic appreciation of our local bakery. We supported one of our local vendors, Carnaval on 3rd Avenue, and one of our taco shops on Broadway, Sarai's Taco Shop, which is a local favorite of our staff team. I did want to share with you that as the many incentives, it's in the agenda memo that I provided. No, it's not on the slide, but the agenda on page 3, it actually lists a series of engagement retention efforts that the human resources team offers our staff team here at the authority. And I just wanted to see if there was any questions.
Thank you, Director. Do any members of the chair? Yes, Director Martinez.
So I know that Cuyamaca College is not part of our service area, but I mean, it's in Otahuara District, but I know that a lot of residents in our service area attend. Would it be possible in the future to also include them in the job fairs that we do?
Yeah, Director Martinez, thank you for that opportunity. So they are part of our strategic goal, objective, and target. They have been. Probably we could have added 10 other listings of where we have been, but just to reiterate, that was a goal and objective that was set out for us in 2023, and we've been accomplishing that. You'll see that when we go into our strategic discussion. So Cuyamaca College is a critical part. Not only do we table, but we also are part of career preparation for the students in our water studies program. Myself, Ryan Baranoff, Asha Howard, who are my HR team, they participate in being proctors for sample interview mock participation for the water study students. So we embrace them very much so as part of our commitment of service to our work.
Thank you. Thank you. And second question, I noticed like historically, sometimes board members are considered part of staff for certain things and not for other things. Mm-hmm. For this reporting, is the time that we've served on the board count or no?
No, sir. The numbers that are presented to you today are solely for regular full-time equivalent staff. Okay. Something to consider. The legislation did not include our directors for legislative purposes.
Any other question? Director Cox?
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I think you mentioned that the numbers on the slide were different than what was in the packet. Was that with regard to the data on the slide or the number of employees in the bargaining unit? You mentioned 23, I think, for MMG.
No, what I mentioned was, so the numbers that are in the current PowerPoint was for calendar year 2025.
Okay.
Yeah, the number that I updated on MMG is the full-time equivalent that's in the bargaining unit currently.
Okay, so how did I miss it? How many FTE positions were budgeted per bargaining unit for calendar year 25?
So the full-time equivalent has always been at a base of 138.
But I think the legislation, doesn't it require if there's 20% or more vacancies in a particular bargaining unit that something else triggers? So how do we know how many FTEs were in each bargaining unit?
I believe that, let me take a look. If you look at your memo, do you guys have it? Do you have your memo available?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you take a look at the second page, it actually delineates the various vacancies for calendar year 2025. So for the IBW, there was a total vacancies of, it delineates the type of classifications. Mm-hmm. There was 18 vacancies there. Then you had middle management at 6. And confidential was 1. That's, I think, was page 2. Yeah.
Okay. And those are different than what was on slide 4.
Yes, they are different. Yes, they are different.
Help me understand why, if it's all for calendar year 25. And again, these are the vacancies, but it's not the budgeted positions, right? So
Yeah, the budget, these are just the FTE allocation. Let me take a
these are the vacancies, but we don't have in the report the FTE full-time positions that were authorized.
My understanding, and I defer to the general manager, we are authorized at an FT of 138. The discrepancy between slide 4 and page 2 is there was one position that was miscategorized. So that is the correction that needs to, I notice now what you're referring to. So there is a middle management position was miscategorized as an IBW. So that's why the distinction between 18 in the memo to the 19 on the slide, that should have been
Okay,
amended.
so those are 19 and 5,
Mhm.
but we still don't have, and maybe you don't have it handy, but how many authorized FTE positions were in each bargaining unit? I know, understand it's 138
Mhm.
total, but in order
Right.
to calculate whether we're over or under the 20% threshold for any bargaining unit, we need to know how many employee positions were budgeted per bargaining unit, right?
Yeah, we can calculate that though, but I think one of the pieces that's really important, our bargaining units are availed of a report that's not here, but it's a recruitment tool that we share with the groups. So everybody is aware of what their current recruitment status is for each of the units, right? But yes, you're correct about the percentage, but just to reiterate to the board, each employee group was offered an opportunity to be here today, regardless of the percentage, to not only attend, but also avail themselves of their time for the legislation to be present, to speak on any concerns or vacancies that they may have.
Okay. But it does sound like we are over 20% for at least the MMG based on the numbers you shared. 5 of 23 would be slightly over 20%. So I'm just wondering what we do with that information, since it says if 20% or more of authorized FTE positions in a single bargaining unit are vacant, the authority will report the number of vacancies in that unit, the number of applicants for those positions, time to hire, and opportunities for improvement.
Yes, that's, I mean, we've done that. The something that the employee groups have responded or even asked to meet and confer on it,
Okay.
right? But they're aware, right? These positions are, like I said, we do our recruitment table at least once a month to each of the employee groups. So they're aware of the current vacancies in the bargaining units.
Okay. So it sounds like the opportunities for improvement only come in if the employee group requests it, if it's above the 20% threshold.
Right now, we're currently in closed MOUs, and that usually has been the tool that we've utilized for any ongoing concerns regarding openings or questions regarding the vacancies that they maybe have questions or concerns on.
Okay. And then the average voluntary turnover rate, I think I know how that's calculated. I just want to make sure that, is it the number of resignations plus retirements divided by the number of FTE?
It's definitely like I said, it excludes our intern program. It includes our retired annuitants.
Mhm.
These are full-time vested positions, and it is by voluntary retirement or resignation that this number reflects.
Divided by the number of budgeted positions or actual
Budgeted
employees in the
positions.
position? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Got it. Thank you. Any other directors who's got a question with regards to this report? Seeing none, any other comment? Director?
Not from me. Thank you, Chair.
Again? No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Director, for that report. I will open, the public hearing is now open. This is the opportunity for members of the public to address the board concerning the authority's job vacancies, recruitment, and retention efforts. Speakers are asked to observe a time limit of 3 minutes. Members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand by clicking on the raise hand button or via phone by pressing *9. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
Yes, Chair, we have one public comment from Karen Henry.
Okay.
Chair, board members, my name is Karen Henry, and I would just like to thank the Director of Administration for her thorough presentation. And I just wanted to add one comment because I am a curator of your public record, in particular, things that happen in public meetings. And if you want people to work here, what's said behind the dais about employees is paramount to whether people will want to come. So just take that as a bit of advice as a retired water industry employee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. Any other,
Yes, Chair, we have someone with their hand raised online. I will let them speak in just a moment. Robert, if you can unmute yourself, you may speak.
yes, we can, Robert. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Thank you, Robert. We see you, sir. Thank you. Any other public comment?
No, Chair, that was the last public comment.
Okay, so that is the last public comment. Since this is a public comment, I need to have a motion to close public comment?
Yeah.
No? Okay. The public comment is now closed. Do any members of the board have any additional questions for staff? Or does staff have any further comment? Board? Seeing none, staff?
No, Chair. No additional
None,
comment.
no additional comment. Okay. Thank you. This is an informational item. Thank you so much. Moving on to item 6, approval of minutes, 6.1, regular board meeting of April 8, 2026, 6.2, special board meeting of April 14, 2026, and 6.3, regular board meeting of April 22nd, 2026. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on item 6.1 through 6.3. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
There's no public comments, Chair.
Thank you, board.
I move for approval.
I have a motion for approval. I'm recruiting for a second.
Second?
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any comment, discussion? Seeing none, Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Castañeda is absent. Director Cox?
Aye.
Director Delgado?
Aye.
Director Martinez?
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez is absent. Director Morrison?
Aye.
Director Yamani?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously with Directors Castañeda and Martinez Perez absent.
Thank you. Moving on to 7, consent calendar items. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on consent calendar items. Board Secretary, are there any members of the public that would like to speak or to be heard?
Yes, Chair. We have a public comment for item 7.2 and 7.4.
Okay. Do we take that 7.2 first?
Pull those from consent. and
I pulled that
consider
7.2 and 7.4. So I'm pulling 7.2, 7.4 if there is a public comment. Any other board? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for approval for the rest of them.
Move for approval.
7.1 and 7.3. Thank you. I have a motion.
I'll second that.
I have a second for 7.1, 7.2, or 7.1 and 7.3. Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Castañeda is absent. Director Cox?
Aye.
Director Delgado?
Aye.
Director Martinez?
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez is absent. Director Morrison?
Aye.
Director Yamani?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously with Directors Castañeda and Martinez Perez absent.
Thank you. We listened to 7.2, consideration to update board policy 519. Who's the speaker, Madam
Ms.
Secretary?
Karen Henry?
Okay, thank you. Ms. Henry?
Good morning, Chair and board members. Thank you for this. My name is Karen Henry, and thank you for this opportunity to address you. I'm here to question what is changing about this policy, because I printed it out with my color printer. Attachment 1, it says red line version of policy 519, and there is no red. So there is no red line version, at least online. So how you determine your policies is really up to you, but it would be, to disclose to people what's being changed. And if nothing is being changed, you should be confident enough to say that. So
Thank you.
I'm here to listen and learn what's really happening.
Thank you. We have that red line.
Well, when you're ready to consider, Chair,
Okay.
if you want to consider that item now.
Yes, I would like to, please.
Yeah, thank you. If I can share my screen, Board Secretary, I do apologize. I did work on this policy. There's really minor changes that were accepted, unfortunately, when this came to committee. And this is the version that you should be able to see. There's been a lot of discussion on this board about whether the board has authority to approve events or not, sponsor events or not. Sorry, what is that, Leticia? Yeah, of course, I'll work it on that. So, as far as sponsorships, I think it's certainly clear in this policy. And the changes proposed from management to the board is, as you can see in this paragraph, third paragraph, where it says for public events, only events that are in the authority service area are open to the general public and do not charge an entrance fee will be considered. And this really entails events that have a booth, in a Seawater Authority booth, not the type of event that's been discussed here as far as endorsements and sponsorships. So this is an attempt to clarify that. Also stating what is pretty clear, notwithstanding this policy, the governing board has full authority to approve events on a case-by-case basis. So that clarifies what I believe is certainly the within the boundaries of the board. And that is the only change that was proposed to make clarification in response to comments that have been made at this board. And just a minor clarification is shall provide periodic reports to the board on events endorsed and sponsored by the authority. That is the change. That is a proposed
you.
change.
Thank
that
you,
was
GM.
included. Thank you.
Thank you, GM Board. You have any question? Yes, Director Cox.
Thank you, Director. And thank you for sharing the red line version. I had the same question. I was wondering about what had changed. I compared it to the last version and discovered it, basically what you're showing on the screen here. Being the person that has brought this up a couple of times, I appreciate the ultimate opportunity to bring clarification so that we can make sure that when we are voting, we have the policy in mind. I did wonder staff's intent. The addition of the language for public events to me implies that there are not public events. So are you saying that for the not public events that we basically have the authority to approve on a case-by-case basis and there's no guidelines as to whether or not those events are in our service area?
Yes, those are the prerogative of the board.
Okay. Would the board be amenable to including some language to indicate that when we do sponsor events, they are in our service area and for the betterment of our ratepayers?
Can I clarify?
Go ahead.
Just so the board sponsors a lot of events, and some of them take place elsewhere. San Diego, the last one was in, I believe, by Washington and the freeway. We're talking about events where we have a booth where we might take the water trip. Those are always public events, like the Chula Vista events. I don't think we do private events. I think that is precisely the directive here, that we're not going to go into a beer fest and set up shop, because that would not be an event open to the public. And I think that was my understanding. That's why this was included. It's maybe a bit confusing, but there was such an incident a few years ago that prompted the board to try to clarify this. But I think maybe talking about not say sponsor, say the seedlings rally that is going to be coming to for your consideration. we're looking at participating in events that are community-driven events. I think that is the goal of this clarification.
Yeah, and I totally value the public events and the piece of it. I think we absolutely should be participating in these events, especially in our service area. It's the ones that occur outside that maybe don't have the connection to water or to our ratepayers and the benefit of them that I was seeking the clarification on, and hopeful that this policy would be revised to address.
I think we took that up during the committee discussion, and that came to legislative and communications.
Finance and
Oh, finance and admin.
Yeah,
Yes, and I believe that you know, I mean, it's a part of public service as well, reaching out to partners from outside of our jurisdiction. You know, I mean, to promote that goodwill that we should have as a authority. Mayor, yes.
Yeah, it was brought up at committee, the redlining in particular, because we didn't really understand what was being changed and what was not. So that was brought up at committee and was asked to be clarified here. You know, but I do understand what the member is bringing up concerning outside events that would be, that are not public events, that there's not really a guideline here on that. So, and I'm just trying to think, a lot of times we may have things that might be water related, but they may be happening in Mission Valley or something, and we would be sponsoring, or that we would be just using that as an example. But the question is it really water related? Is it really to us, or can other things be added in that are not necessarily directly related to, you know, water agency matters? That might be a concern. So I understand it's a little fuzzy when it just says it can be up to our discretion. And so it doesn't give any parameters at all.
Okay, so maybe you can give some recommendations, and we will take that up at the committee, Director. Okay, is that good?
Okay, so this item will be deferred back to committee.
I will consider that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So for now, we will table this policy then, and we'll come back at the next board meeting. Thank you. Now we go on to consideration to purchase water meter 7.4. Who pulled this, Madam Secretary?
Public comment.
Public comment?
Sure, there's
Yes.
Robert raised his hand. I
Oh,
think
on-
he's
on
raised his hand prior to the item, so I don't know what he is, what his intent is.
Mr. Robert, are you going to speak on item 7.2, sir? Because we
I'm gonna-
tabled that already. Or are you going to speak on 7.4 or 7. We didn't vote, sir. We tabled it. No, sir, I didn't say any of those words. I said table it, and the committee will take consideration of any recommendation from the board. No, sir, but your comments are so noted. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Going on to 7.4, consideration to purchase water meters. Any public comment on this, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Chair, we have a public comment from Karen Henry.
Good morning, Chair and board members. My name's Karen Henry. I'm here today to talk about this item that was before Finance and Administration Committee a week ago. And I think it's important for the good of the public record for it to be said, the discussion that occurred on this item. First of all, I'm supportive of purchasing these water meters. And as Mayor Morrison said, there was really no decision to be made. You already had a contract, you already had a product picked, everything was set up. So why was this item there? Well, if by listening to what happened, it was to talk about other things. And I just am here to remind everyone that if you say you're going to talk about the thing on the paper, that should be the scope of what you're talking about, not a totally separate multi-million-dollar improvement effort that if that was on the agenda, I would have showed up. But purchasing water meters, no brainer. I realize the legal counsel doesn't attend committee meetings to pay attention. So I just thought I needed to say something because it got way off track. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments or speaker, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Chair Robert has his hand raised.
Okay, Mr. Robert? Lina
Recording in
Martinez Perez,
progress.
please. And she has to, Director Martinez, can you hear me?
I can. Can I
Can you
share
please
my
state your
statement?
statement? Thank you, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm participating in today's meeting remotely under recent amendments to the Brown Act due to childcare obligations. I just had a baby last Monday.
Congratulations.
That prevents me from participating in person. There is no one in the room that is 18 or older. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director. Congratulations. Okay, Madam Secretary, let's resume to the public speaker, Mr. Robert. Yes. Mr. Robert, are we speaking on 7.4, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Robert. I have 7.4. What's the pleasure of the board?
Chair, that was the end of public comment.
Oh, thank you. I